back, everyone. My name is Renee, and you're listening to the Body and Mind Strong podcast, where we talk all things life, fitness, and health. And today we're getting into a topic which there actually has been a phrase for it around for like neons, but a clinical term wasn't coined until 1993. A good year, if I do say so myself. Anyways, so there you are, stuck in traffic again on the one day you actually need to be somewhere on time. Or you just got an unwanted diagnosis, or that breakup text, or the email saying the position's been filled, and your whole body tenses up. Your mind starts running the tape. This shouldn't be happening to me. Why does this always happen to me? Or if I only left 10 minutes earlier. You're not just dealing with the situation anymore. You're also fighting the emotions around the situation. Sound familiar? Today, we will be talking about radical acceptance, which it actually means why fighting reality tends to make our pain so much heavier than it needs to be, and how accepting something is not the same as approving of it or giving up. Because here's the truth. The situation is what it is, whether we accept it or not. The only real choice we have in a few things is whether we suffer through it while also resisting it, or whether we meet it with a little more peace for our own sake. And that second one, it's a skill, which means it can be learned. So yes, that phrase I was referring to, it is what it is one that actually drives me nuts. Even though I believe in radical acceptance, that phrase just irks me because too many times I've seen people say that because they were getting what they wanted, didn't care about you, and they were saying that to you so you just get over it. Okay, anyways, I digress. Let's move on to what radical acceptance is. So let's start with what radical acceptance actually means, because I think a lot of people hear acceptance and immediately hear giving up or being okay with it. That's not it at all. Radical acceptance was originally formulated by Marsha Linehan during the development of DBT to help patients stop fighting unchangeable reality and reduce emotional suffering. Now, here's the distinction I want you to sit with. Pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is what happens, the loss, the diagnosis, the traffic jam, that hard conversation. Suffering is what we add on top of that pain when we refuse to accept that it's happening. It's that this isn't fair. It's this shouldn't be happening to me. It's the mental loop of replaying an argument with someone that has already occurred. Radical acceptance says the event is what it is. You can still feel it fully. You can be angry, sad, disappointed, or even grieving, and it doesn't ask you to skip any of that. What it asks you to do is to stop spending your energy fighting the fact that it happened so that energy is freed up for the part you actually have some influence over, which is what you do next. And radical is doing some real work in that phrase. It's not a soft, casual, someday, maybe kind of acceptance. It's all the way acceptance. Accepting with your mind, your body, and your actions, not just saying the words while still white-knuckling the resistance underneath. One more thing I want to be really clear here on. Acceptance is not approval. Accepting that something happened doesn't mean you think it was right or fair or that you're condoning it. You can radically accept that someone hurt you and still hold a boundary. You can accept a diagnosis and still fight like hell to manage it. Acceptance is about planting your feet somewhere else and not about staying in that moment. So what does this actually matter for your overall wellness beyond just feeling a little calmer in the moment? Well, let's start with the mental side because this is where most of us feel it first. When we resist reality, when we stay stuck in that this shouldn't be happening to me loop, what we're really doing is rehearsing our pain over and over again. That's rumination. And rumination is strongly linked to anxiety and depression because instead of processing the event once and moving through it, your brain keeps replaying it over and over, which keeps the emotional charge alive. Radical acceptance interrupts that loop. Once your mind stops arguing with what already happened, there's simply less fuel to keep that anxious spiral going. There's also a confidence piece here that I see with my clients. When you're constantly fighting reality, you start to feel powerless, like life is just happening to you. But the moment you can accept what it is, you free up that mental bandwidth to ask, okay, so what can I actually do here now? That shift from resistance to problem solving to empowering. This is where people start to feel capable again instead of feeling stuck. Now, let's talk about the body, because this isn't just a mindset thing, it's a physical thing as well. When you're in a state of resistance, your nervous system reads that as a threat. Your body doesn't know the difference between I'm fighting a bear and I'm fighting the fact that my flight got canceled. It responds the same way. Cortisol levels go up, your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, your sleep gets disrupted. And if that resistance stays consistent, that's chronic stress. And we already all know what chronic stress is tied to, from everything from inflammation to poor digestion to a suppressed immune system to elevated blood pressure. So when you practice radical acceptance, you're not just making yourself feel better emotionally, you're actually giving your nervous system permission to slow down and to relax. Your body gets to stop bracing, and that's when real recovery, both mental and physical, can actually begin. Now, I want you to remember this. Acceptance isn't passive. It's not weakness. It's actually one of the most active things you can do for your health, because it's the thing that lets your whole system, mind and body, stop fighting a battle it's never going to win and start directing that energy somewhere useful. Okay, so how do we actually practice this? Because radical acceptance isn't something you do just once and you're all good. It's a skill you have to build a little at a time. The first step is simply naming what's happening. When you notice yourself in a resistant loop that this shouldn't be happening to me or the why me, just pause and name it. Name it something as simple as I'm fighting reality right now. Can create just enough space to loosen the grip. From there, try a phrase to anchor yourself in acceptance. Something like, this is what's happening to me right now. Or I just can't change that it happened, but I can choose what to do next. You're not saying it's fine. You're just stating the fact of it out loud or in your head so your mind and body can stop arguing with something that's already true. Next, let yourself feel whatever comes up without judgment. Acceptance doesn't mean skipping the emotions. It means letting the emotions move through you instead of adding a second layer of, I shouldn't be feeling this way on top of it. Frustration, sadness, disappointment, let it be there. Feelings that are allowed to move tend to move faster than feelings we fight. Now, your body is actually a great entry point here. When you notice that tension, the clenched jaw, the tight shoulders, the shallow breathing, that's often resistance showing up physically before you've even named it mentally. A few slow breaths, consciously relaxing your shoulders, can help signal to your nervous system that it's safe to stop bracing. And finally, ask the question that moves you forward. Given that this is the situation, what's one thing within my control right now? That's the pivot from resistance into action, and it's usually a much smaller, more manageable step than it feels like from the inside the resistance. I encourage you to start small. Don't try to radically accept a huge life event on day one. Practice it with little things, that slow driver, the spilled coffee, that meeting that ran long. Building that muscle on small stuff makes it so much more available to you when the big things hit. And like always, if you're finding that certain events or patterns keep pulling you into that resistant loop and it's hard to work through it on your own, that's exactly what a therapist is there for. Sometimes we need support to actually build this skill, and there's no shame in that at all. That's radical acceptance. Not giving up, not giving in, just meeting reality where it is so you can actually move through it. All right, so before we go, here's your homework assignment this week. I want you to pick one small everyday frustration, not the huge stuff, just something like small, like getting cut off in traffic or your coffee order coming out wrong, and practice radical acceptance with it in real time. Notice the resistance when it shows up, name it, and try to phrase it. This is what's happening right now. Then notice what happens to your body when you stop fighting it. And if you want to take it a step further, grab a journal and jot down just a sentence or two afterwards. What was the situation? What did you do? And what shifted once you stopped resisting it? You'll start to see in your own words just how much energy that resistance was actually costing you. Now, if this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who's in the middle of fighting something they can't change right now. It may be just exactly what they need to hear. And if you haven't already, hit the follow on the podcast so you don't miss next week's episode. Thanks for listening, and make sure you're doing at least one thing today that will get you one step closer to one of your goals. Have a great day.